street from Eagles on the corner.
But I mean, you're talking about where the Eagles are now, across the street from there.
Yeah.
Mr. Shade?
Pardon?
Mr. Shade?
No?
Okay.
Not.
I don't know then.
Anyway, I can't remember the name of that gentleman, but I didn't have a phone at that. There was a little office in between there and the Eagles. There was a little building there, so that was my last place of where I had and they dumped the papers. They dumped the papers outside, and if it snowed, then I'd have to go down and take them inside and wipe them off and stuff. It was a hard job. I had 32 carriers, and yeah, that was a big job. But that was.
You've done some interesting things, Martha, you and Lowell.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, and the reason this Mac he had dropped off some papers, and he come back and picked up another load, and he didn't come back, and I didn't have a telephone there because are we still all right?
Yes, I'm just checking, just make sure we're on. Go ahead.
Didn't have a telephone because I had to leave the door open so much, and people would come in and use my phone, and so I just didn't have a telephone. And so anyway, this man's wife across the street, catty cornered from me, and she come in and she said, "Your husband is at his house. He's not well. He thinks he's having a heart attack." Well, here I was with all these papers, and how was I going to get them out and get them loaded? And there were papers that the kids hadn't picked up. A lot of kids, their parents helped them pick them up. And so I called Mr. Young and asked him if he'd take me around, and he said, "I'll do better than that." And the fellow across the street lives in that house, has a little Jeep, and he said, "We'll come down and pick those papers up, and you give us directions." And so they did that. So that really solved my problem.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But see, that was in. See, I had that agency for 20 years.
My
I
goodness.
had a long time. And so it was so different then, because people would call me, and if they didn't get a paper, and maybe the kids had gone somewhere, and I'd stopped my supper or anything, and I always carried some extras, and then I'd pick up the paper and take it and deliver it by myself. So it was quite a job. But I started that in, let's see, I was a candidate for Mrs. America in 1958. Mary would have been 8 years old. So anyway,
Now, how did that come about?
the Mrs. America thing,
Uh-huh.
well, Mr. Gleason, who run the oil company,
The gas company
at that time,
Mm-hmm.
it was called Central Gas or something at that time.
Yes, it was called that once.
And they had a contest down at the building where they serviced, and you had to iron a shirt, and
Didn't know this.
you had to bring a cake, and there were several little jobs that you had to do. And so I won that contest and went and entered the Mrs. America contest, Mrs. Nebraska contest at Norfolk. And I should bring that to you sometime. I never thought about bringing it today. But anyway, we had to make an apron, we had to iron a shirt, we had to cook a meal, and you were graded on everything. You had to bring a garment that you had sewed, and I did tailoring. I made all my kids' clothes, like their coats and everything as they grew up. And had made a pink wool suit, and one of the ladies that was on the committee, we picked her up and took her, Mr. Gleason. She was from Omaha. She was a home economics instructor at one of the colleges there. And she said, after I won second there, and she thought that I should have had the first, because she said the garment that you made was just perfect. And the one that Mrs. Lincoln's put in, who was a winner, she said she just brought a navy blue skirt, and she said it wasn't anything fancy at all. But she said Mrs. Lincoln was second last year, and so she said they had all that. She said, I'll never serve on a committee like that again. She said, because it was not fair. It was not fair.
That's
But
interesting.
it was really quite an experience. And so then the next year, I was Mrs. Platt. I didn't care about entering